Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T, here on behalf of the NFC East Super Friends, taking you around the NFC East. I'm doing a little bit different this time around. I'm going to break up the division in twos, all right? I don't want to cross-pollinate here. I'm going to talk about the non-playoff teams and the two teams that more likely than not will be in the postseason. There's no guarantee if both will make it, but the Eagles have already clinched and will ultimately be in the postseason, but we'll see if the Commanders join them or not. But we know for a fact the Giants and the Cowboys will not be making a trip to the postseason this year. So I want to talk about those two teams in particular here on this video, and I have another upload specifically for the Eagles and the Commanders. So with that said, let's go ahead and go inside the odds, brought to you by BetUS.
Inside the odds.
Looking for a new book this football season? BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get back up to 10% on your net losses twice a year, as long as you've been active within the last 6 months. And here's the big kicker. If you're new to BetUS, use the promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000, 125% sign-up bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. So what you see in front of you are the Tankathon draft order for the upcoming 2025 draft in the spring, and some odds brought to you by BetUS about the number one overall pick and the odds of the players that will go number one overall potentially in the draft. Now, I want to start with the Giants here because me and Bad Dog have talked about running the play, and I'm big on running the play, right? And the Giants have gone back and forth as to running the play or not running the play, okay? All losses are not created equal, okay? So I'm going to ask you, Giants fans, what do you want to do with your head coach, Brian Daboll, and your general manager, Joe Schoen? I've gotten the sense that you want both of them back. Maybe you don't want Schoen back. Maybe you want Daboll back. Maybe you don't want Daboll back. You want Schoen back. Maybe you want both back. Maybe you want neither back. I want you to tell me. I've gotten the sense that you want both of them back, okay? Because you ultimately want to see them pick their quarterback and then see what they can get done once they have that guy in-house, right? So if that is in fact the case, and I can't speak for you, and that's why I want you guys to tell me down in the comment section what you want to see done. If you want to see those guys back, and more likely than not, they'll be back. Your owner, earlier gave the dreaded vote of confidence. Usually, if that happens, you have the guys come back. But if you don't run the play correctly, things can go off track. So there's running the play, and then there's getting your wig pushed back. The two are not the same. Now, all losses count as one, and every loss that you stack up gets you that much closer to the ultimate prize of getting that quarterback that you so desire and covet. However, the game against Tampa Bay, you can't lose in that manner. I've never seen a line this robust as the one that is up this Sunday, as the Ravens are 16.5-point favorites against your beloved New York Football Giants. It could be a bloodbath with them coming off of a bye, pissed off because they lost to Philadelphia, knowing that they really don't have any margin for error the rest of the way. They could take their frustrations out on you. The Tampa Bay game was embarrassing. Those are the types of losses that get people fired. Look, as a Giants fan, you really don't care at this point what the losses look like as long as they come. Running the play means you are competitive but you do the thing that bad teams do, which is find a way to lose. Yes, the Sunday loss against the Saints may be a bit too close for comfort. I'll admit, I've been there. I was just there last year. I know the feeling, okay? You probably almost had a heart attack. But that's how you run the play. That's how Daboll doesn't get fired. That's how Shane doesn't get fired, because the team hasn't quit. Or at least it appears that they're still fighting. When you get your brains bashed in the way that you did against Tennessee, that leads people to believe, maybe we need to make a change. And I'm not telling you that change isn't good, but if you're in it for the long haul, meaning that you're willing to give Daboll and Shane at a bare minimum 2 to 3 years with a new quarterback to see if they can't turn things around, then you don't need to keep them around if you're not going to give them the time they need to do this. The worst thing you could do is allow them to draft a quarterback that they both like, give them 1 year, and then fire them and then bring in someone else to coach said quarterback. That's a mess. That's what the Bears have done 15 times over, which is why they still are searching for their franchise quarterback. Maybe they have him already, but they just did the shit again with Caleb Williams, right? So you don't want to keep doing that. That's how you stay stuck in neutral, or you keep going in reverse. If you're not going to give them a chance to fix this, 2-3 years to fix this with their new quarterback, then you just need to fire them at the end of the season. There's no reason in keeping this process going and dragging along the inevitable. But if you want them to even be here in the first place, you can't get your wig pushed back by 30 some odd points and look non-responsive in an NFL game. Again, been there, done that. That leads to heads rolling. Run the play. I know Sunday was a little too close for comfort, but that's running the play. Trust me, if you're as bad as you say you are, you'll find a way to lose. You didn't get to 2-11 on an 8-game losing streak by accident. You're a bad football team, and bad football teams do bad football team things. You'll find a way to lose, but you need to be competitive. You got one more hurdle to overcome. One more obstacle that is in your way, and that's the Indianapolis Colts. Clear that hurdle, and you're home free. You're not going to beat Dallas. You're not going to beat, I think you've already played Dallas twice. You already played Dallas twice. You're not going to beat the Ravens, obviously. You're not going to beat the Eagles. And you could beat the Falcons. I think you have the Falcons left as well. You could beat the Falcons. That's a little dicey, too, with Kirk Cousins playing the way he's playing. So I take that back. You got 2 obstacles. 2 obstacles. The Raiders have Kirk Cousins on Monday. They could win that game. Like, with the way Kirk Cousins is playing, with the way the Falcons are playing right now, they could win that game. So you could be in the clear. But all I'm telling you is, you didn't come this far to mess around and beat somebody at the end of the season. But there's a way that you are supposed to look when you lose if you want this thing to stay on track. But don't make the mistake of beating somebody, okay? Don't do that. Look at what happens if you do, right? I don't have to explain this to you, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you end up with 3 wins, you get into a cesspool with the likes of New England, Carolina, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and the Jets, Cleveland. Assuming those teams don't win any more games, at least 2 or 3 of those teams are going to win at least 1 more game. Hell, Jacksonville and Tennessee play each other once more this season. Somebody's going to win a game, right? So, assuming that Carolina has a chance to beat Dallas this week, they're favorite for the first time in God knows how long, right? What I'm telling you is some of those teams are going to win another game. But what you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where now, look at the strength of schedule of a lot of those teams. You can't stack up. And while Carolina, New England, and Jacksonville, which are the three teams that have, tremendously low strength of schedules, none of them need quarterbacks. It's not about them not needing a quarterback. It's about them using that pick as an asset to trade with somebody that does. You don't want a gun to your head to get to number one when you can do it yourself, right? Because if I'm New England and I get the number one pick, I'm putting a gun to your head. How bad do you want the number one pick, bro? Because I got 3 teams on my line right now willing to give me 2 first-round picks and a former Pro Bowl player. What you willing to give me? And if you play hardball, bang, they'll blow your brains out and trade that pick to somebody else. You don't need those type of problems, right? Or you could just say, well, we like the 2 quarterbacks at the top of the draft. We're not giving you anything. Good luck, right? Good luck. We all know the prize of this draft is Shedeur Sanders, and I want to thank the good old people over at BetUS for sponsoring this video, but also providing us with these odds. As you see, Shedeur Sanders is the runaway favorite to be the number one pick at -150. The next closest player is his teammate, Travis Hunter, at +165. And the next quarterback, which we know that the first 2 picks in the draft are more likely than not going to be quarterbacks, and it's probably going to be Shedeur 1 and Cam Ward 2. He's at +400. Nobody else in this group is even remotely close. Everybody else has at least 3 zeros after Cam Ward. So you know what you're fighting for. Don't F this up. Simple message. Run the play. Okay? Be competitive. You'll lose. You'll take care of that part. Just be competitive. Blowouts lead to turmoil. You don't need that. Right? Speaking of turmoil, the Dallas Cowboys have sort of withstanded the turmoil that they faced a little bit earlier this season. They won 3 straight, tried to make it 4. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do so. In gut-punching fashion, they lost on Monday night to the Cincinnati Bengals. However, there were some key takeaways. Now, I will tell you this, and I'm going to keep this short and brief. I don't have a lot to say to Dallas because you're kind of in no man's land. As you can see, you're currently holding on to the 12th overall pick, kind of in no man's land right now. And you're going to probably win another game or 2 when it's all said and done. And you'll end up definitely in no man's land, like smack dab in the middle of the first round. But that's nor here nor there. The real conversation surrounds your head coach, Mike McCarthy. Sounds like he's going to be back. And I told my dad, he's a Cowboys fan. I said, boss man, think Mike McCarthy's going to be back? He's like, I don't know, man. I don't want his ass back. He needs to go. I said, I don't think he's going anywhere, man. I think you need to kind of wrap your brain around that concept. Now, just like I talked about with the Giants, the finish to the season is going to be key. I think he's done enough to put himself firmly back in the position of head coach, but he's got to finish strong. Like if they finish out losers of 4 straight, or 5 now, they got 4 games left, he's going to get fired. But if they continue to play the way that they've been playing here of late, they win 2 out of their final 4 games, they finish the season at 7-10, Jerry will just blame it on the injuries. And you know what? He wouldn't be necessarily wrong. This defense has looked vastly improved since they've gotten a lot of their players back. A far cry from the defense we saw earlier this season that couldn't stop anybody. Now, I will tell you, DeMarvion Overshown's injury is a killer. That shit hoit. That shit hoit bad. Because I was telling anybody that would listen, when you play Dallas, you got to account for not only 11 at all times, now you got to account for 13 too. You remove 13 And you can find a way to neutralize 11 by himself. Changes everything. Just think about it from this perspective. Look at the 49ers defense on Thursday Night Football. When they had 57, Dre Greenlaw out there for the first time this season, next to 54, Fred Warner, the Rams couldn't do shit. They couldn't run, they couldn't throw, they couldn't do nothing. You remove 57 from the equation at the end of that game, and Kyron Williams started to get wicked. They couldn't stop nothing at the end of that game. It's amazing what you can do with the power of two. That shit hoit. However, you've played a lot better here of late, and I think they want to see what it looks like when it's completely healthy. I think they're going to run it back. The defense has looked better. The offense has looked better. I think they want to run it back next year. So I think that's where you're trending right now. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Giants fans. Do you want to run it back? Do you want a new coach? Do you want to wipe the slate completely clean? Or do you just want to run it back with Mike McCarthy and Zimmer and company, and let's just see what it looks like when everybody's healthy? At the end of the day, as a fan that was in a similar situation to you, it's not quite the same, but it's very similar. You're just spinning your wheels in place. Jerry Jones is still the owner. Stephen Jones is still the owner. They're still running the show, and as long as they're running the show, it's still going to be dysfunctional. That shit. I know y'all saw that Stephen Jones has already come out and said, hey, free agency going to be a little tight. Purse string's going to be a little tight. Looks like y'all all in again next year in 2025. Good luck with that. Ding! Good luck. You already know what it is, right? So whether you change coaches or not, it's the same shit. Different toilet. But you tell me what you want to do. Because right now you're trending towards keeping Mike McCarthy. You lose to Carolina, though, and they're favored to beat you. That's actually not a bad bet. I actually think Carolina is going to beat you. But if you had DeMarvion Overshown, I think you guys win that game. But you still may win that game. Right? You know, Carolina, I just talked about the Giants being a bad team. They're a bad team, too. Bad teams find ways to lose. So you should beat them, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Around the NFC East. Giants, Cowboys, two teams that will not be playing bonus football this year, but have a lot to look forward to. But we'll see what the offseason holds. Still 4 games left in the season. See what you do down the stretch. That's going to determine what your offseason looks like. We'll be keeping tabs. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think is going to happen, what you want to see happen. Can't wait to read your responses. Until next time, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. I'll see you guys next time, and want to give a quick shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this stream. Use the promo code YouTube150 over at betus.com. Take care.